as we head into match number 24, the final game of PCS3 APAC, a 10-point gap between Buriram and Division X Gaming. That is your top two, and that's the major storyline to look at here as we reach the final game, the culmination of PUBG in 2020 for the APAC region.
Well, this is it. We found the magic button. We've got the game started. 24 out of 24. Final opportunity for Division X. LG Divine, if they can have a barnstormer of a match. We sort of watch the playing path. Is there anything that's quite fishy? No. It's going to be pretty clean from what I can see. No hot drop on Buriram. That is confirmed. They're fine, safe, over towards Mill to Power. Division X basically on the other side of the map as well, Jordan. So I don't sense we'll be seeing those two sort of fight in-game, at least not at the very beginning. And our phase 1 circle, you know, we said before, it's usually phases 4, phases 5 that have the most impact. But that phase 1 circle in the last game, it had an impact. It mattered. JN, though, very close to Kim Siver, dropping for vehicle.
Yeah. JN's beating him to it.
So I could hardly even see that vehicle. I'm not even going to lie. That little bike was like blended in.
I mean, you had to take a bit of a gamble there that there was actually a vehicle, but there'd be no other reason for them to be both dropping in the same spot. Sosnovka Island, though, is a very real possibility for the final game of this evening, of this competition. And I don't half mind that, you know, because it's almost feeling like a bit of an equal playing field for all of those top teams. Obviously, the exception being Fury gets a little bit of a benefit from being in that first circle. And if it does indeed shrink on Sosnovka Island, they're going to be the team that has to move the least. But at least in terms of Buriram and Division X Gaming, you know, very likely that they're both going to have to work their way down to Sosnovka Island. It's not a case of Buriram gets a feed early or Division X Gaming gets a feed early. It's just that level playing field. So off to the races here. And let's see what LG Divine even can do because, well, they haven't locked down that third place just yet. Fury is 7 points behind them. That's definitely a lead that can be overturned in one game, especially with the way that the day has been going for LG Divine.
Do you think a 20-kill win is possible for a team at this level?
I think that would be incredibly difficult to pull off. We saw Fury get a 16-kill win. It's definitely possible, you know, if the ducks are put up in a row, any of these teams are going to be able to shoot them down. But I think it comes down to the point if you know if you want to get a 20-kill win, you know, I'm going to try and you know, humor you a little bit here, Xenox. If you're going to get a 20-kill win, I think that's where a little bit of luck does start to sort of come in, right? Getting wins and that kind of thing, you know, definitely a lot of skill involved, etc., etc. But to have a 20-kill win, you need to have teams that are rotating past you. You need to be getting those clean wipes. You need to be getting hard feeds later on in the game, you know. So 20-kill win, it's possible if everything goes absolutely perfect for a team. But as we know in a game like this, it very rarely does go perfectly for any team.
And for LG Divine, while, you know, instead of a 20-kill win, it's more like a 15-kill win, probably, right? And still hoping Buriram don't get many points. So they have to sort of replicate what Fury did in the last match for LG Divine to win PCS3 here. For Division X, well, I guess replicating the last game would be just enough as well, even with allowing then Buriram a few points. Now, Mill to Power, boat spawn, pretty comfortable here for Buriram. They have the option of going Novo, or they can actually rotate all the way to the south side of Sosnovka Island, come up from the beach. Judging by the current circle, based off just, I guess, statistics, you would say west side Sosnovka Island or central, more so than around the Novo side of Sosnovka Island. So read into that as you will, and to terms of what Buriram then want to do. Cerberus are also going to boat their way in, as they actually have a much shorter distance to traverse. They're going to get to this beachhead pretty early on. LG Divine over towards Shelter. They've got a bit of a distance to traverse, and they're going to be coming in quite late. And if teams like Bay, and, well, in this case, a team like Bay, who has been aggressive tonight, if they're going to camp this bridge, they're going to do so aggressively. He's doing donuts.
I'm a fan of donuts. Probably not the ones with the car, but, you know, the ones that you can buy from a bakery. They go all right. Sophia's keeping an eye on the bridge. No one's crossed just yet, but Chibarit is also having a little bit of a look-see to see what's going on. He's from Victim Rise on the northern side, and they will have to cross. Big split from Fury. They got a couple up north already in the hilly terrain above the military base, and they've also got Ronan and Flood locking down a couple of key positions inside of the base as well. That air traffic control tower, very, very solid spot. Division X Gaming haven't yet moved from South Georgia Pole. I'm interested to see what they do, you know, whether they've got a boat or two to play with or if they're going to chance the car. I think if they're going to come in that late, it is going to be pretty risky to try and drive across the bridge. So I'm almost hoping that they're going to be able to find a boat here and come in on the western side of the island. Buriram actually, interestingly, by the way, we were talking about whether they'd come in at Novo or whether they'd go all the way down to the south and come in from that part of the map. They've actually gone in at Novo. So they might run into Bay pretty early on in the piece here. Basil's got a knock onto Waikika, and that's not good news at all for Fury because he's out in the open. He was one of those players that pushed up to the north. I don't really know what Chibarit's doing here because this could be awful. If someone spots him out, if Sixax sees him, he's done. There's just no chance you survive in that spot. There's no cover at all.
BTR, Sharper Esport, Ibarit. I mean, trigger control is just, well, trigger discipline. Such a valuable skill to have.
It's a hard decision to make, though, because...
You can't shoot there.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, someone's eventually going to see him, you would think.
Well, I mean, but you're playing the game the right way in a sense where you're just backing yourself in. Now goes for the shot, apparently. Probably because of the fact that he actually has the reinforcements a lot closer than
maybe
originally.
Yeah.
So waited for those reinforcements to come, then gets the down, makes it harder for Sharper Esports to go hunt him down, which apparently you can just throw a nade at him. I feel like I'm casting the previous fight, I guess, that we were about to see happen, and now we're looking at Cerberus Esports. Obviously, for Fury, they loot in military base, so they get the pick of the litter as they basically can go wherever they want. Kim Siver's taken low. Maximus at the petrol station's there with him. Of course, we didn't see it, but we knew Sixax was going to be knocked eventually. The pressure, though, from VTR. And this is really what Chibarit was waiting for. Those reinforcements have arrived.
Well, LG Divine might get off to a good start here. Jun missing a few shots, but Kamals does go down eventually, and those are some pretty difficult ones to hit, particularly through the foliage. Good start for LG Divine. 1 point on the board. It's gone horribly wrong for Victim Rise, and they might be making a very quick exit to the final game of this evening. Only 1 or 2 players still up, and they're in a really bad crossfire here. You got Kim Siver in the petrol station, LG Divine starting to come from behind as well. Don't really see probably any of these teams apart from LG Divine getting out of this one alive, to be quite frank. But even then, once you clear this petrol station out as LG Divine, what do you do from there? Because Bay's still camping the bridge.
But really, if you want to look at it from, I guess, the best case scenario here, is you just wipe everyone. Like, you just straight up with all of these fights, and then you end up with like 8 kills with the entire game still to go. Like, that is a possibility that could happen here for LG Divine. And honestly, that's probably what they need to actually happen if they're going to find the victory here. You got to win fights. It's as simple as that. And they would have known that coming into this game. You can't just rely on like a 2-kill win, for instance, right? You're going to have to get some kills. You're going to have to win some fights. And they've got to back themselves in, considering they're the PCS2 champions. They've been the best team for a couple of months now in the Apac region. You should be winning fights against Sharper, against VTR. And Levi's opens it up. And how about that? 3 kills. Just like that, Jordan. That's 3 less points that they have to worry about for the remainder of the game. It begins. 18 points now is the deficit. And we get phase number 2. Oh my goodness. That is a shift over towards the western side of Sosnovka Island, which has the least amount of teams on Sosnovka Island. And it really makes it harder for LG Divine more than anything because they're on the wrong bridge.
I tell you what, that is great news for Division X Gaming. You can't actually see them at the moment, but they're rotating past or almost toward Primorsk. I'll touch back on that in a second because Seymour, he was trying to hang on, but Levi's does eventually get rid of him. Another kill on the board for LG Divine. Definitely a good start for them, but now we've got to cross on the bridge. This is on the eastern bridge. Angel Alliance. Well, Belmoth nearly just gets his head lopped off by a motorbike, but he's fine for now. And actually, Angel Alliance get out of there with all 3 players aside from Mad Dog. I mean, I think you'll take that.
Yeah. Always. You always would take that, especially with this circle. So it's like that reward at the end of the tunnel that they've now got to because they're in the center of the circle. Buriram move up, but they're on the south side. From the Future's actually even more southern of Buriram, so that could be a factor. They might get pinched at some point, but these compounds are pretty decent. And honestly, phases 3 and 4 can very much shift on this. Like, we see it a lot, to be quite honest. Now, here is Division X that you sort of mentioned before. We are in phase 2. They're not taking that much damage. No, don't worry. They're going to be fine. They've got boats, although could you imagine if like a glitch happened where they ramped into the other boat and they both blew up?
I don't know, man. That feels like 3 or 4 years ago from PUBG if we're talking about it. But like I said, I feel like this is almost the ideal world for Division X Gaming. I mean, there's no one to stop them from rotating in here. They're going to be totally fine. They've got 2 boats. You can see Hexagon right there in front of them, but he's a poor lad swimming. So if they spot him, that's actually a free kill as well for him. And we know how much of a difference 1 point can make.
He's not making that. Surely there's no way Hexagon's going to make that swim.
He doesn't have any other options, though. What's he going to do?
Oh, he could have just gone on land. Could have just walked to the beach and gone to Ferry Pier.
No. He's going to die if he goes there.
He's not going to make he's not even going to make this circle. Therefore, oh man, whatever. Who cares? It doesn't even matter. He's not really a factor. It's all about Division X. Where do they land though? This is the question. As you said before, it's fortunate that they got the western shift because there's not many teams here. When they do sort of land on the beach, they'll scope it out. They'll sense, is there a team here or there? They'll figure out there's no one here. They'll push up. There's a couple of compounds still available and they can take the cliffs as well. So good circle. They're in now, no longer taking any damage. They push in. Their best hope here is though that Fury end up taking out Buriram at some point, or potentially from the future, the 3 members that are actually on land and, well, not Hexagon.
Yeah, very interested to see what ends up actually happening just outside of the eastern edge of Sosnovka military base, because Fury, Cerberus, Buriram, even Daytrade and Hydro Gaming, they're all on top of each other. Division X Gaming, the other team that we really need to keep our eye on, have made their way into the circle. But this is outside of the circle. This is in the blue. What we're looking at right now, LG Divine, they're watching the bridge. Bay is still watching the bridge.
Yeah, in the blue.
In the blue. So there's 3 teams, by the way. If we do get a look on the map, there's 3 teams north of the bridge.
Is there no blue in this game? Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on over there to the west.
Oh my goodness. Military base finished. Could be the play here. That's honestly the worst circle that Division X could have asked for here. That feeds right into Buriram. It's going to be very difficult now for them to win from here because that circle did not help them. They needed a hard west shift, and that would have forced teams out of military base towards the cliffs into the more open fields, which would have benefited Division X. That's what they needed, didn't get it. And they're also getting pressured by from the future. Gypsy Danger is just taking some free pot shots at them. We transition over to Fury, who are about dead center here. Really good compound to have, sharing it with Cerberus at the moment. Flood watching from the other side of the road. I do keep watching the map. They still have not moved from the crossroads. They're sitting in phase 3 blue, camping LG Divine. They're making sure LG Divine do not get across the bridge.
Oh, nice grenade from Waikiki Mukau. Does knock Sololzi. There's a couple being thrown back in the direction of Fury just to try and stop them from breaching this building.
Also, the guy is still swimming, by the way.
He's still alive. That's good to hear. Waikiki Mukau gets another one. The Molotov on top of Basil. So now Cerberus are down to 2 remainders. Subang hiding in the corner. Fury are doing a really good job of pressuring them out of this position. It seems LG Divine have tried to make a way across the bridge and they've run into Bay. That's the end of LG Divine. They'll be taking 3rd place at best. Wow. 14th, and their day is ended by Battle Arena Elites in the blue at the bridge, but they get their men. 4 kills for Bay.
Look, not quite gentlemanly-like from Battle Arena Elites, camping phase 3 blue just to make sure LG Divine do not make it across. That's 73% of voters who are now incorrect. No 100k points for them. They better have hoped that they voted for, I guess, another winner, such as like Sonics, which I think 99% of people voted for. Hexagon is still swimming, but he is in the blue, and I do believe he's given up now. I'm not sure if the observers will go back to Hexagon, but our swimmer boy is going to drown. He is going to die, and there it is in the kill feed. RIP, Hexagon, A+ for effort, maybe?
F's in chat for from the
F's
future.
in chat for Hexagon.
Yeah. It's funny though, because like the rest of From the Future got across, so I'm not sure why he was left back there on his own. Anyways, rest in peace, Hexagon. You will be sorely missed from the future, I dare say, because this is going to be a pretty chaotic finish. Got a lot of teams remaining in the military base, and from the future is not one of them that's center of the circle. So they've got a lot of moving to do, a lot of fighting to do on their way in. Very similar to Division X Gaming. They're in a pretty close proximity. Now, this is where things get interesting. Not only the circle shift coming up now, but Division X Gaming are running right in the direction of Angel Alliance, and I don't think that they know that Algen Bots is above them to the north. So it's a crossfire for Angel Alliance, and if Division X Gaming go out here, it will be Buriram to win. No questions asked.
Man. Well, look, at this point, Buriram surely can't lose from here. Not maybe even just the game, but of course the tournament as a whole. It's still a 10-point gap. Division X still have got 4 players alive. They wipe out Angel Alliance here, and it does dig into that lead as well. Makes it 6 points, gets them further afield, closer to the next circle. But they've got to win the fight. It's a 4-on-3, though. It's as simple as this. If they lose a couple of players here, they can say goodbye to their chances of first place and any sort of dramatic finish that may yet unfold. Because if they get through Angel Alliance, hope is still alive, quite significantly as well. There might even be a few vehicles at this compound that can get them to the next circle. They probably don't even realize they've got a 4-on-3 advantage. The problem is they don't have the position. Angel Alliance do. They're doing a good job of gatekeeping. To be fair, credit to Division X. Their smoke play and their usage has been really good, pushing to the side of this hill rather than running up it, forcing players like Algenbot, who's playing this anchor position, to no longer being able to see them. So it's actually a 4-on-2 for the moment.
There's a point for Buriram, though, and that makes the job just a little bit more difficult for Division X Gaming. I'll agree with you, though. This rotation from Division X is actually really smart. Moving down to the southern side of that hill gives them a chance to push up onto Angel Alliance and maybe pick up 3 very, very important frags. From the future, looking a bit worse for wear, could have definitely used Hexagon in this engagement, but Buriram are on the move. Nordra in the Dacia. He senses the blood in the water. Edie's moving as well. And again, this is the Buriram that we know and love. When they get an advantage, they look to try and push that advantage. And they know how important these points could actually be, given how close PCS Apac finished last time. They can get another 2 or 3 points on the board. That might be enough. That might just be too much for Division X to overtake.
Zuzu utilizing a few of those bandages to stay alive. Triple X. It's been a really good finish to the tournament from the future. Good signs for the future in 2021. Good little roster from Indonesia that has certainly impressed in terms of their firepower, even placement, the ability to win fights. In the top 8, should finish in the top 8 unless Magic Esport come home really strong. And the same can be said as well for Angel Alliance in 7th. An amazing tournament from them, who somehow still have all 3 players alive. Nothing came from, of course, that exchange with Division X, who, well, Division X are actually pushing into Buriram. At this point, I can't see anything but a Division X versus Buriram fight, which is definitely in favor of Buriram, if you can't tell there on the map, because Division X are basically in the blue. There they are right there, Fergus Long K on the back of the buggy. That is never an ideal situation, and if both of them can survive, I'll be surprised. Although this hill should at least get them in. They can heal up, and maybe there's still an avenue. They're in the circle. They're going to have 4 alive. They're not out of this yet.
Xenox, the most important factor here is that it's Division X Gaming getting gatekept by Buriram. If Division X Gaming want to get in against into Sosnovka Island, into Sosnovka military base, I should say, they have to get past Buriram. So this is perfect for both teams, almost. It's probably better for Buriram at this point, but hey, if Division X Gaming win this fight, they still have to catch up a bunch of points, yes, but they've taken out their main competition. So it's just hugely important. This next fight, I hope we don't move away from it. I hope we get to catch this one, because this could be the make or break for PCS Apac.
And of course, Phase 5 circle now just forces the hand of Division X, but it may also force the hand of Buriram. If they look to move their position, might not be in a position to actually gatekeep Division X as much, especially if they're more worried about the latter stages of this game, which is obviously fair enough. You can see Edie repositioning now not so much in a position to actually fight Division X. The best play for Division X would be, if they had a string of vehicles, would be to crash Nordra's compound. Even if it's not in the circle, that's the sort of first point of call. get that compound, get that kill, then cross the road with smokes. That would most likely be the play, but they don't have the vehicles to do that, which then sort of summarizes that their only play is to probably just throw out smokes, try and use some of the cover that is in this circle, in this very open field. At best, you find a knock if you're lucky. They do have the buggy, but a person on the back of that buggy is such an easy target. You're almost better off probably just having one person on it.
Absolute sitting ducks, and they almost have to hope that someone's going to turn around from the military base and have a look in the direction of Buriram. Fury gets a couple of kills in the meanwhile, and they get themselves ever closer to a third place. Lost Waikika. It was a great start against Cerberus, but they didn't actually push in and flush those kills, and so I think this actually could have been even better than it was for Fury. See if they can make it into third. They're 9 points away. That's definitely achievable with the 3 players they have remaining. And they're in a great spot right now, able to camp out quite a few teams. If this circle shifts a little bit further into the military base, Cerberus and Daytrade are going to have to go past them. So definitely workable for Fury.
If they had 4 alive, I'd even say second is achievable, right? Because if Division X do kind of fall here, which I mean, when we look at their position, it's not a really good position. They could have got second, but look, I'll tell you this. If Division X can win PCS 3 from here, it could very well be one of the toughest tournament wins in PUBG history. Yeah. Maybe not number 1, but it would be certainly up there. When you look at the position, the way they've had to travel, the boats, the circle certainly was not kind to them. This is PUBG in a nutshell, though, and this is why you never want to leave it to the final game, where you sit back and you're like, oh, of course, it's a military circle on the final game. That's the one thing we didn't want, for instance, considering where they dropped. But they've played it well to get to this point with 4 alive. 21.5 minutes into the game. That is, in itself is impressive. May not get them first place, may not get them the event win, but it's got my respect.
Well, where this circle moves now is going to be probably the most important move of the game. If it goes south, Division X Gaming have a chance. If it's north, it's done, surely. Wow. And it's really neither here nor there, which is still just as bad for Division X Gaming as it is good. Buriram will have to move as well. Maybe Division X Gaming can get a couple of good shots, and it's Division X Gaming that are moving first. That's what's interesting to me here. If they actually get across
they have to
the fence before Buriram makes the push into planes, maybe Division X Gaming can actually gatekeep them out. That's a big, big move. Buriram is totally distracted by what's happening above them, and that's allowed Division X Gaming to get close.
Huchill's helping out, though, just landing a few shots onto Edie, forcing him back to that bowl. Touching on what you said, though, if they don't move forward first, then obviously they're going to get gatekept. So they know they have to go first. They have to be proactive. They're rewarded for it. They get to the fence line, which is a really strong position. They're also in the circle. And because they got that fence, they don't have to even use that many smokes, provided I don't know how many they've actually got remaining here. They did have to use a lot earlier. Looking at that kill feed, no one from Buriram, no one from Division X. Bay, though, have just pushed onto God Meow. God Meow does not even realize this because it's on the plane next to him, not on top of him. 2 kills, and obviously they're focused on Division X. We're into the placement points now as well. It's actually very paramount that for Division X to win PCS, they need to actually now find kills. They need to make sure Buriram are eliminated, because if it gets down to like a 1v2 scenario, they're not going to win. God Meow, though, and they've got the knock too. Division X have just lost 2. Make it 3. It's Bay. The team that got rid of LG Divine are about to get rid of Division X Gaming as well. Buriram smell blood in the water. They know they can win the event off of this if they don't allow any revives, if they don't allow them to get back up. Burkus is gone. Division X down to 1 player remaining. Neil T's not going to be able to clutch it. We've got our winners for PCS 3 Apac. It's Buriram United from Thailand. They've got their first major event chicken dinner this year for 2020. And really, whatever from here happens, it don't really matter. They've done it. They should know they've done it as well. And it's all about celebrating the rest of this game. Congratulations to Buriram. Fury on the move. 2 players left. They don't quite get past Mip and Zuzu. From the future are still alive. They can still get above Angel Alliance. Fury are locked into 4th. They remain in the top 4. And we are down to the final 5 teams. But it's all said and done. Congratulations to Buriram and the 12.3% of voters, you guys in chat who voted for them. Well done.
Well, Buriram, I can tell you, absolutely knew that they had won at that point. As soon as Division X Gaming had lost 2 or 3 players, you just saw this wave of Buriram players flying across the military base and in the direction of that last guy who really had no chance. Division X Gaming, They did well. They really worked hard to try and get to that second place, but Buriram just a little bit too switched on. And when they knew that they had the opportunity to lock that win in here in PCS3, they absolutely took it. And they can thank Bay for a little bit of the assistance in doing that, not only in getting rid of LG Divine earlier on in this game, although they weren't much of a factor, but definitely for doing a number 2 Division X gaming. The next storyline we have to look at here is how far can From the Future push this. They've got a couple of players left alive. It's a pretty big deficit behind Sharper. It's unlikely they get into 6th place, but maybe still in with a chance.
Yeah. Well, it just feels like we've taken the sting out of this game, but obviously, as you said, still something to fight for. But Mip and Zuzu's the solo now. Tonke getting that knock. Triple X will die. Good little run from the Future, though, towards the end of this tournament. They secure top 7, which is an amazing achievement. They were sort of dangling down the bottom for the majority of the event, but talk about making a late comeback. Magic Esport was actually a team, though, on the flip that... Well, actually, they haven't secured 7 because I think Magic Esport will actually take this spot unless they die like very, very quickly here. Oh, and that's the buggy from Nordra, not going to be successful. And while Buriram are done, they can go celebrate now. They've been sent out of the lobby by Bay. Bay has literally wiped all the top 3 teams in this one game. Yep. And they're going to get top 10 after dropping out of the top 10, I think it was yesterday or maybe even last week.
Well, I got to say, if nothing else, I've enjoyed watching Bay play tonight. I don't know how much solace that's going to be for them. You know, potential 10th or maybe 9th place, I'm sure wasn't exactly what they were looking for after a pretty good PCS2. But hey, at least we had fun in this final day. They have just absolutely centered at everyone. They've been the trolls of the lobby, really, it's felt like. And it's kind of coming up with the goods here in this final game. Would love to see them get the chicken dinner just to finish things off in the last game of this evening. And well, it's down to them and Magic Esport, really. That's the important factor. Even if Unicorn wins from here, they're not going to take 14th place. But if Bay can get the win, how many points on offer for them? 4 kill points, so they'd be up to 131, and then the extra 4 points you get from 2nd to 1st, it would just be enough to overtake Magic if they get all of these kills remaining.
I'd actually feel a little bit rough for Angel Alliance if they don't finish in the top 8, considering the tournament that they had. But, geez, what a close finish there for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. To round out the top 10. Unfortunately for Ferox as well, what a game from Unicorn. They took it to the last game, Jordan, but the battle for 15th, it's going to be Unicorn who come out on top. Not sure how this happened. Of course, no surprise. We didn't really get to see much of them this game. Obviously, we saw a lot of Buriram, Division X, etc. But hey, credit to Unicorn for fighting until the very last game to get out of last place. It's obviously demoralizing for Ferox. Only the 70 points, last place, a tournament to forget for them. For Bay, though, great way to finish and maybe just sort of a feeling of this is what could have been on a more regular basis.
I agree. I mean, I had Bay pegged as a top 8 team, to be honest with you, and they probably won't quite manage to make it there. But you see those flashes of brilliance and you think exactly what could have been for that roster if they were just a little bit more consistent. Could have definitely been a good placing for them. I mean, I guess, end of the day, it's always next year. And that blue... Oh, unlucky not to get that knock, but he will at least be able to finish off Sulaby. So that's 1 point that's taken away. 1 potential point taken away from Bay. Still... Actually, I don't think it's enough anymore for them to catch up to Magic. I have to do the math, or maybe you can do it while this fight's happening, because Valix has just been finished off there by Bay. And now it's down to the 1-on-1. Not really the 1-on-1. It's the 3-on-2, but it's Bay and Unicorn. Magic Esport are on 136 points. So let's see. Can Bay catch up? They get 2 points from the kills, 131. And then another 4 points from here from the win, unless it hasn't updated on the standings. Yeah, they'll be at 135 points. So this fight actually doesn't matter as far as the scoreboard is concerned. But hey, at least you can say you got the final chicken dinner.
It does matter for a team like Unicorn. Can they find a win? Right? That's obviously, I don't think they're going to get it from here. For Bay, they've already had a chicken dinner this event, so... not as important for them other than just sort of finishing strong, I guess. But I don't think that blue is going to be able to get a 1 versus 3 clutch. What a game, though, from Battle Arena Elites to close out. Taking out LG Divine at the bridge, taking out Division X, and then taking out Buriram in that order. And now taking out that blue in the smoke to close out for their second chicken dinner of the event. But hey, the real winners, the champions, Buri Ram United Esports from Thailand. GG's, congratulations. It's been long coming. It's been well deserved. And arguably now to close out 2020, you can crown them by far and away the most consistent team in Apac for this year.
Absolutely. They had a 3rd place in Charity Showdown, 2nd place in PCS 1, back to a 3rd place in PCS 2, but now finally that ever elusive 1st place for Buriram United Esports, and I agree.